Very good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Brief. It's the weekend edition of the program, and we're right here to do what we love to do, to bring you all of the information and keep you informed, entertained, and educated as much as possible. Welcome. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga.
Yeah, November is running very fast.
Pretty
it's
fast,
the middle of the month and the last edition of the program for the week. Good morning and welcome to your perfect morning starter right here on Channels Television. Of course, we're live for you. I am Bukola Koka.
So, Bukola, I hope you watched the match yesterday.
Well,
you promised to watch the match. I sent to you everything you needed to watch the match.
As far as Nigeria is concerned, is an emotional game. So after the first goal was scored by Benin Republic's, I believe Ahmed Tijani yesterday,
You ran away?
I ran away, yeah.
No, you're not patriotic. No.
Of course I'm patriotic.
You're not patriotic.
I didn't stop wishing Nigeria well, but I didn't have the heart for it.
So, well, eventually ended 1-1.
Well, ended 1-1.
Yeah, so we're good for now, just to inform you.
We've qualified.
Yeah, we've qualified.
And that's the important thing.
That's the most important thing, actually.
But what's more important is for the Eagles to up their game such that we have more impressive performances in future games. We absolutely need that. You know, time and again, you guys say about football that the way we start the championship, pretty much determines the outcomes of the other football matches ahead of us. So we really must do better. Of course, we'll have all of that.
We're going to talk extensively about that. But just to let you know that later today at about 12 o'clock or before that or after that, but just before 12 o'clock most of the time, the inflation numbers for October should be out. It's usually 15th of every month at about 12 noon. The MBS will release inflation numbers as well as other data that are related to all of this. So we're looking forward to what it will be. Is it going to be a marginal rise or significant rise or a reduction? So we're looking at all this to be sure what is going to happen. President Bola Tinubu made appointments yesterday, so new people in the on the saddle. Daniel Bwala is now the media, special advisor, media
to the president on media and communication.
Yes. I think that's what it's called. So congratulations to him. We look forward to those engagements.
We look forward to his first appearance on the Morning Brief as the president's special advisor on media and communications. Mr. Bwala, by the way, is no longer an independent, as Jeffrey would say. Yeah. He's now fully dependent on the APC-led government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But we always knew this anyway.
Yeah, he's always told us that he's a friend of the president, so that's why I call him the friend of the president. So now he's no longer the friend of the president. He's now media, special advisor, media, and public communication. So we look forward. Our job is to hold the government accountable, and we'll do that to the best of our ability. So Bwala and his team should be ready to answer very hard-hitting questions.
And we hope that Mr. Bwala would swear to defend the truth in honor of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
By the way, there are some impressive numbers coming in from the government, what's it called, customs now, saying they have exceeded their yearly target, 5 trillion or so naira.
Is it 5 or 7.2 trillion?
No, actually 5.
5 trillion.
They targeted, they gave that target last year and they've exceeded all of that. But people are saying, at what cost to importers? That's another question we need to maybe talk about one day, because sometimes the price you used to, the amount you used to buy a car to use and clear that, the amount you now use to clear that car is just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. So some people who were into car importation, some of them are reduced or left that business. People no longer buy cars as they should buy. The tariff is too high for a lot of people. We've talked about this time and again when we're a high import dependent country. So good numbers from the customs, but at what cost to businesses? That is a big question, and that's why we need to have this conversation with people like Jumoke, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, because I know she's saying our priority is export. As much as that is, for now we're highly import dependent. So people who run this kind of businesses, what now happens to them? And also impressive numbers again from the NMPCL, saying that we're now doing 1.8 million barrels. Right?
Jeffrey, that came through following the announcement, public announcement by the National Security Advisor to the President that the country is now producing 1.8 million barrels of crude oil per day. We require more accountability from the state-owned oil company itself on what exactly Nigeria is producing in terms of crude oil per day. And of course, the breakdown that Jeffrey always gives us about what exactly, is of that component that is coming in as revenue to Nigeria as against what the international oil companies, take away, particularly now that Nigeria has adopted the policy of naira for crude oil, which is being lauded that it will reduce Nigeria's dependency, on dollars. So there is the need for absolutely more clarification in that regard. Concerning the increase in revenue coming from the customs, we wonder if this has anything to do with, of course, the reforms in the Nigeria's tax reform bill as proposed by the Presidential Committee on Tax Reforms. Remember that one component of those bills is the adjustment from the Federal Inland Revenue Service to what would now be known as the Nigeria Inland Revenue Service, and the
Nigeria Revenue Service.
Nigeria Revenue Service, and we know that Mr. Oyedele has advocated, prior to this presentation of these bills, that the customs should no longer be collecting revenue. I wonder if this is a subtle pushback as a result of that proposal. But of course, we'll see how that plays out, particularly when the National Assembly begins to deliberate on those reform bills. Speaking of figures, Jeffrey, the president is proposing 47.2 billion naira, trillion naira.
47.9 trillion.
47.9 trillion naira. I'm very terrible with figures, but I can only get better. For 2025, that's quite a number, almost doubling what we had for 2024.
We are 30. We were 27. The NAS increased it to 28.
Supplementary budgets.
And then they now had a 6 trillion additional, so that made it about 34. So 49. This is the highest we're going to have in the history of our country. So when the breakdown is done, we're going to see what the deficit. I'm happy with all these numbers that customs posting and all of these guys are posting. Also, the issue of FX is also a big, big issue.
So are we going to be looking to international borrowing to fund the 2025 budget?
Definitely we will borrow.
And the price of crude oil, which
we may have to borrow to fill that gap.
Which the budget is benchmarked on, is going down. At least at the end of this year, we've seen a significant drop in the price of crude oil. But who knows what we'll have next year?
Price of crude oil, that's also a concern because, as we've always said, before I believe whatever the NNPCL said, not because I don't believe them, but they've done enough for me not to believe the first things they say. I'm sorry. But they've said, well, yeah, it's the truth. And they know this, I'm sure. They say 1.8. So I'm calculating that may actually be crude oil, maybe 1.5, condensate, maybe 300. When we compare the notes with OPEC, we'll be able to know what the numbers are at the end of the day. So it's impressive that we are trying to ramp up our crude oil production, because that's our cash cow. The more oil we produce, the more money we make. Even if the price for crude oil comes down, at least marginally we'll begin to make more if we continue to produce more. So let's look at how that plays out. And of course, I'm sure this will be the first time that the federal government will be benchmarking the naira to the dollar at over 1,000 naira. Perhaps maybe they'll put it around 1.4, 1.3. I've not looked at all the details because you have to be realistic. So they will not put it at the higher level or the higher margin. They'll put it somewhere below it. So if it's 1.7, they may put it at 1.4, 1.3, hoping that they can push it back at the end of the day. So if there's anything the federal government, especially the fiscal authority, has to do next year, is to see how the naira can bounce back. The naira is on a free fall, is losing stamina. It needs a lot of sugar. Give it sugar to get some stamina. Okay, Bukola, we have a lot to talk about today, and one of which is, of course, the very first will be a look at what happened in Cote d'Ivoire yesterday. The Benin Republic guys came at us. Hey, they almost broke our heart, but thank God for Victor Osimhen and boys, and Victor Moses and all of those guys who came to the game and said, okay.
My heart nearly jumped up when I saw Victor Osimhen fall down,
I was worried as well.
In the first half yesterday.
So Super Eagles, we're going to be looking at Cecilia Omorogbe, our sports anchor and correspondent, will be joining us to review that match and also take a look at what will be happening in Uyo later on next week. Bukola, you have the next one.
Yes, with concerns over the use of the bimodal voter accreditation system still lingering, we speak to a legal practitioner for some insight on the use of the BVAS and what it's currently able to do as against what we know it is supposed to be doing.
Okay, so remember, Ondo is tomorrow, so we're going to be talking about Ondo election, especially. So our correspondent on ground will be joining us to talk about that election, the level of preparations. Okay, there's also the issue of visual illusion. Do you know anything about magic? Or like we say it's in Africa, jazz? No, magic. Let's leave it
No,
at
magic.
that.
No, not jazz.
Not jazz. I was just joking. So two gentlemen will be joining us to just, you know, play those tricks on us. But we'll be here to ask them questions and how they do it.
And how they acquired the knowledge.
Yeah,
or is it the skill? Or is it a gift? We'll find out.
Maybe Bukola, her hand may change to something.
No, maybe Jeffrey will disappear.
And of course, Bukola, and don't forget, hashtag CTV Morning Brief is how you get to us. And we get to you, amplify your voice on that virtual screen on what you've been saying. But first, we'll take this quick break. We'll come back. Top on the brief this morning is the approval of a proposed national budget of 47.9 trillion naira for the 2025 fiscal year. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Mr. Atiku Bagudu, disclosed this on Thursday while briefing State House correspondent after the FEC meeting presided over by President Bola Tinubu. This was actually part of the medium-term expenditure framework for 2025 to 2027 and in line with the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007.
Included parameters for the 2025-2027 medium-term fiscal framework, which include an oil price benchmark of $75 a barrel for 2025, oil production of 2.06 million barrels a day, as well as an exchange rate of 1,400 naira to a dollar, and GDP growth of 4.6%. And equally, the fiscal objectives were conservative because we want to ensure that we steady the course much as we believe the projections will be exceeded. The budget size that was approved for presentation to the National Assembly in the MTEP is 47.9 trillion, with new borrowings of 9.22 trillion to finance the budget deficit in 2025.
Quite an ambitious budget. Let's move on now. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Daniel Bwala as his special advisor on media and public communications. Bwala, whose appointment was contained in a statement by the presidential spokesman Bayo Nanuga, worked as a spokesperson for the PDP and the presidential team in 2023 election, which Tinubu beat the PDP candidate Atiku Abubakar and others to emerge as president. The president also appointed Olawale Olokpada as the Director General of the National Sports Commission and Bishop Fagade as the Director General of the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism and Adebowale Dedokun as the Director General of the Bureau of Public Procurement. Ahead of Saturday's governorship election, which is tomorrow in Ondo State, the Inspector General of Police, Kaide Betekun, has banned security aides and escorts from accompanying VIPs into polling booths and collation centers. The first public relations officer, Mr. Lumuyua Adejobi, issued a statement noting that the IGP also ordered the restriction of all movement on roads, waterways, and other means of transportation from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., except for essential service personnel such as ambulances, media officials, and fire service personnel. Governor Monday Okpebolo of Edo State has ordered the freezing of all state-owned bank accounts with immediate effect until further notice. Governor Okpebolo also warned commercial banks, heads of ministries, departments, and agencies to comply with the order immediately without any delay or face severe punishment. This was contained or disclosed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. Fred Itwa, in a statement. And the troops of the 6th Brigade of Nigerian Army and Sector 3 Operational Wellstroke have repelled a reprisal attack launched by armed assailants on Chachanji village in Takum local government area of Taraba State. The incident is sequel to earlier arrest of 12 suspected bandits and the seizure of 40 motorcycles and locally fabricated pistols during coordinated operations by troops on November the 9th. Acting promptly on received intelligence, troops of 6th Brigade executed a counter-operation engaging the bandits, who were then compelled to retreat into the surrounding bushes. In business news, the NNPCL says it has reached the mark of 1.8 million barrels per day of crude oil production. NNPCL also stated that it is set to hit the 2 million barrels per day target set by the president by December this year, and revealed that it is now producing 7.4 million standard cubic feet of gas to power gas infrastructure. Let's head out now to the international scene, where in DR Congo, Festival for Peace has been called off for security reasons. An international festival promoting peace that was due to take place in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It has been called off for reasons organizers have stated has to do with insecurity. The Amani Festival, which attracts international and Congolese musicians and whose name means peace in Swahili, was due to hold its 10th annual event in the city of Goma from Thursday to Sunday. Security forces in the DRC have since 2021 been battling with the M23, a largely Tutsi militia group that has seized large areas of territory in the country's southeast. And on sports news, the Super Eagles have qualified for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations despite having one game left in the race to the competition. Arsenal Guavon's men earned a 1-1 draw against Benin Republic on Thursday night after Victor Osimhen's late strike salvaged a point. Oh boy, that was quite a match yesterday. I was literally on the edge, like, what is going on? These guys, did they have a briefing? Or they planted something in our dressing room to know our strategy? I do not know. But hey, those are the stories we've been tracking in the last, say, 24 hours, and it's going to shape part of our conversation for the day. And we're going to begin to look at some of those things. So we'll have a couple of things we'll do today. One of which is that we'll review the Super Eagles match against Benin Republic that took place in Côte d'Ivoire, and also take a look at what is going on in Akure in Ondo State just after that. But Bukola now joins me as we take a look at some of the things you've been saying exactly on X. So, Bukola.
Yes, indeed. Hello again, Jeffrey. Nigerians are talking about quite a lot today, and of course, the Ondo election, as you mentioned, is top on the list. And of course, Nigerians are also talking about that appointment by Mr. President, the series of appointments, really, but specifically the appointment of Mr. Daniel Bwala as the President's special advisor.
I know it's going to be the highlight.
Media and communications.
I'm sure he knows Nigerians will come for him, by the way. So Bwala is not new to such things. All right.
And he doesn't shy away from criticism at all. So, but let's start with the budget. Okay, let's start with the appointment of Mr. Bwala as special advisor. And the President has also named 3 other DGs. Adamawal Lasbon is the first user, and he says, no doubt that you are very good at what you do. All the best, Dan.
Okay, I wish I could see them on screen. Napoleon says he's very good at public communication. This is well deserved. Those crying are pained that the better person is to handle the president's media communication. He has a lot of defending to do. Our job is asking those questions.
Yes, indeed.
It's an exciting time.
And Aminu Ida says, congratulations to Daniel Bwala. Nigeria is at war with economics reforms. Everyone should put aside their differences and fight that common enemy, which is poverty and raising costs of essential commodities we're faced with and the world at large.
This person calls himself or herself Peter Obi AOC, automated. Well, nothing surprises me anymore. It seems the administration has new motto: if you can't beat them, appoint them. as for Bola, welcome to the other side, hopefully. Okay, Bola, let's get straight to all that conversation that...
yeah, the Super Eagles match with the Cheetahs of Benin Republic yesterday.
Okay, we don't... Let's talk about first the fact that Chief Anyonko, the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, he said it's time to do away with the 1999 Constitution. He said this a few days ago, but it's still trending. And it says, Lemmy is saying, that's good, but sir, how will that one change the mindset of people who lack patriotism? What about the corrupt individuals in the public sector whom the operations of this constitution is in their hands?
Good point there. And Mr. Humble says Nigeria needs massive and all-round reforms in constitution, defense, education, economy, and many other sectors.
When I see that name Humble, I had a friend called Humble. Okay, Fiadigo says, it's not the constitution, but the custodians and administrators of the constitution.
That's a relative, you know, it's a subjective matter. Some believe that Nigeria cannot work with the current constitution, but if you say this is your position, it's taken. The advocate says the constitution is never the problem, rather the individuals that emerge as our leaders.
All right, the NNPCL, we'll move on from that, so we want to race as quickly as we can because of what we have to do today. Today on the program, NNPCL seals 10-year gas supply deal with Dangote Refinery, and Greg is saying all these agreements are fine. How does it benefit the common man? Is my concern. Will the price of gas come down? I like the way Nigeria summarized it. We don't care your English. We don't care about your agreements. We don't even care what you're saying. Whatever you do, when I step out to buy anything, I want to see a significant reduction in the price. Until that is done, Nigerians are not impressed.
African Unifier has just one line or a little more. Every day there will be an agreement, and yet nothing is working. You know, that speaks to the trust quotient yet again between Nigerians and the appointed and elected.
All right, Johnson said we are no more excited about this news again. You have fallen our hands. Falling our hands in Nigeria means you've disappointed us. With the cost of fuel from your refinery, getting this gas approval too will never bring any cost reduction to the high cost of cooking gas for Nigerians. So disappointing.
And Bokasin says, for a country with abundant gas reserves, cooking gas shouldn't be this expensive. And indeed, the price of cooking gas has shot up to about 400 naira per
kg.
Per kg. So if you're filling 12.5, you're spending about 17,000 naira. I know I bought it at that amount.
I bought it for 16,000 or so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome to Nigeria. Okay, let's go to this one. It's a bit a solemn one. Yesterday when I saw the visuals, in fact, I couldn't watch it, part of it. I really didn't follow up in certain parts. The Chief of Army Staff, former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tari Lagbaja, his body was flown from Lagos to Abuja yesterday. His service of song was held in his honor, and he will be laid to rest later today. He served the country from the front lines, and we thank him for his service, and we commiserate with the family at this very difficult time. But let's also hear what you're saying about our late chief. Comrade says, rest in peace, our amazing general.
And Truth Bassi speaking some hard truth. No one is getting out of life alive. This is a message to redress our nature. Our time here on earth is ephemeral. Sleep well, soldier.
Omar says, no power can overpower the angel of death. Rest in peace, Cross. Your dedication to serving this country is well noticed.
And Chima says, may the souls of all those who died while trying to see a better Nigeria, including NSAS protesters, rest in peace.
All right, so again, our thoughts and our prayers are with the families who have to relive that moment yet again today in Abuja, when the Chief of Army Staff will be laid to rest eventually on his final journey. So our thoughts and our prayers are with the family as well as everyone who has been affected. Our country has lost a general, and so we're mourning. But hey, The show has to go on somehow. And this time we're going to invite, we want to talk about the Super Eagles, and there's only one person right now that can help us break down what happened yesterday. Literally, I was on the phone with her like, what is going on? These guys, they came like they want to bust everywhere. Cecilia Omorogbe is our sports anchor and correspondent. She joins us right now. Cecilia, we're waiting for you. If you can come as quickly as possible.
Am I going to be in the middle, or where will I stay? Closer to you?
No,
stay here.
You're
right.
so
that's cool.
You're alone on this particular one. So Cecilia, yesterday, by the way, Cecilia Omorogbe, our sports anchor and correspondent. Cecilia, what happened?
Okay.
I'm happy we got our points to escape.
Yeah.
At least we're secured.
Let my people go.
But at about 20 minutes, especially when the goals came, I was almost confused. We're losing passes. These guys came like tiger. I was almost asking myself, did they
nickname cheaters?
Did they like his drop on our strategy? What happened? These guys played football.
They're coached by a former coach who spent 5 years with most of the players that were playing against him. So let's start from there. But I think when we talked about narrow escape, we already qualified even before we kicked the ball because Libya were able to beat Rwanda away from home. So that actually put us in that spot. So we already qualified even before we started that game because Libya game and Rwanda game were earlier. So we booked a spot already. We needed a draw to just qualify. But because of that loss already, that 10 points was guaranteed. So there was none of the teams in that group could have been able to catch up with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. That aside, I think when you're playing against a side, if you Benin, we go beat them. That's how they went into the game. But the coach actually said before the game that they were not going to be complacent. They were going to go all out, do the best, achieve the objective, which was of course get all the points you need and qualify. And we back home were saying Benin Republic, judging from what they did to us, back then in the World Cup qualifiers, we can easily just, beat them 4-0 to show our dominance and also tell.
I'm pointing in at
Cecilia, Nigerian Jollof must not underestimate Benin's outgoing being so. And yesterday I was talking about the Janet Raw factor, and Poja was all confident, bolstering, saying that as much as Janet Raw knows our playing tactics, that Egwavon also knows. But did that play out? Did you see it yesterday as Nigeria having studied, the style of Janet Raw as well and reflecting on the field of play?
Yeah, I think it was, taking a look at the game, I think it was just the first 20 minutes that it was as if the Benin Republic were a bit dominant. But after that, Super Eagles took over. If you check overall performance of the team, we had 68 ball possession, compared to their own 42 and everything. So we had better ball possession than theirs. That alone tells you, okay, at the end of the day, we're talking about passes, we were better. Talking about shots, we're better. In terms of, statistics, possession and everything, we're better in that aspect. We had how many shots? About 3 shots at about 2 shots on target, then 5 in total. But they, the one they had, that was the first one they had. So if you're talking about dominance, it wasn't because Super Eagles didn't play well or anything. I think it was the way the Benin Republic, the way they started. And then beginning of second half, they were very aggressive, exactly. In the second half also, we saw them also, coming up with that boisterous performance again until the Super Eagles took over.
Okay, Cecilia, we're going to come to you yet again. I'm going to talk about Nwabali, what happened to him yesterday. But let's take a listen to what the coach had to say yesterday.
Coming to this game, we haven't lost a game. We wanted to maintain that and try to win the game here. Worst case scenario, draw. We want to qualify without losing the game. And we knew we are capable of. We have all the qualities. We have whatever it takes to beat anybody, any day, any time. Benin was a bit more under pressure, but we didn't look at that, having qualified, and we'll come back here and lay down. No. Nigeria is a team that is respected. Almost won the AFCON last time, so we have to try to do what? Maintain that standard.
I want to congratulate our coach, our team for qualifying for the next AFCON. That was our objective. How many months ago now? 4 or 5 months ago when we started this campaign. We heard about it just before the kickoff. Our idea was always to try and win this game. We don't want to put on a showing that is not worthy of Nigeria. So today, I also have to give credit to Benin. I think they had a good game plan. I felt we were a little bit unlucky the moment they scored because the person we were missing at the front post was off the pitch on the other side, Victor Osimhen, and that's why they scored the set piece. So credit to them. We know they're a good threat from that. And from then on, we just want to continue to play well and try to win the game. So I think, like the coach said today, 1-1 was a fair result. Yeah, I would still like us when we play against Benin, but yeah, today was a fair result. And like I said, we're very happy to qualify and to remain unbeaten in this campaign.
Coming to this game, we haven't lost again. I wanted to maintain that.
Yeah.
That's a guava right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have your reactions to some of the things he said.
Yeah. I mean, what I'll start up with what Trust Ekong said. I mean, the big deal is they've qualified for the tournament, which is more important than any other thing. But overall, you know, the way they set out to play was what Eguavoen needed to do, in the sense that you had your best players on the field of play. You started with Ademola Lookman, Victor Osimhen were there. I mean, these are the strongest strikers you can think of in Europe. Yes, Alex Iwobi didn't cover himself in glory because of some missed chances he had and everything. And then Junior Lighton happens to be the person who was more like the fulcrum of the Beninese, because he was everywhere. I mean, he ensured that his passes, his precision and everything was everywhere. And of course, that resulted to the goal scored by Mohamed Tijani, you know, that early minute. And for the coach, what was important is, let's play this game. Let's not lose this game. Let's get the maximum 3 points. But that wasn't to be. But coming back from behind, it's something I would actually credit the Super Eagles for. Because when you have a team who's not used to going behind and then coming back, it's always hard. But they were able to come back from behind and then get the desired result. So overall, I think what the coach, I agree with him most of the things he said. And the changes he made, people were thinking about why not take out some players early. Like Kelechi and people talked about him. So people talked about Alex Iwobi and some other players. He made those changes in the second half, and we saw what happened. Even when Victor Boniface come on later, usually he dresses the ball so much and everything, before, you know, the ball is taken out from his feet and all. But at the end of the day, the changes he made when he brought in Moses Simon in that second half, you know, after that
because we needed somebody to feed Osimhen. Osimhen was man.
That's massive. You know, how do I was trying to look for an adjective to actually describe that cross that he made right into the 18 yards box that Victor Osimhen, you know, he couldn't miss from that. He has missed one earlier that I thought it was a sitter. Like, I was thinking, I'm sure if he gets to watch that game again, you'll be wondering what really happened. Yes, it was marked out. You know, that also shows that, yes, the players needed that win, but somehow they got a drop from it.
God bless Osimhen for saving the day. Not to be talking about
especially you, who were all out. 4 goals.
Okay, so Cecilia, what should we be seeing in our subsequent games, particularly with the lessons that we have learned from, you know, yesterday's match?
What should be seen? I think we should not allow our opponent to actually dominate us. I mean, especially from the get-go, just be with the ball. You can't allow those guys. Those guys, like, I was wondering what's going on. What's happening?
It seems that that's always the approach at the beginning of every game for the Super Eagles, and then they now recover later on. Why shouldn't they start with that aggression as our opponents?
Yeah, I wouldn't use that always it. But we've seen Super Eagles starting so well, and they may not, you know, end up well. But we've seen games that they dominate from start to finish. But maybe this was just a one-off. Maybe the rain or something. I really don't know what. How to actually. Maybe the rain and not so. Yes, not so much at stake. Number one, and maybe number two. You know, if you check the timing, players came in like camp was open on Monday. Most players came in on Tuesday. We had a full squad on Tuesday. That was when they had their first training session. You're playing a game on a Thursday. You know, sometimes when you have those where players you have to travel from across the world to come together, and just have 2 days in between before you play a game. Sometimes I do think that also you know, contributes to, you know, to how the players start when they're playing games like that. But I'll watch what's going to happen in New York. Of course, now we know that they have like 3 days. The game was last night. I thought the game could have played earlier, but hey, it was at night. Maybe they're going to travel back this morning. And of course, they have today, Friday. They have Saturday, Sunday, 2 full days. And of course, the match in New York is on a Monday. So hopefully we can see something different from that. I believe that they would have rested enough, you know, because I saw a tweet by Trust Ekong when they talked about dinner in London, you know, somewhere, you know, just like that, you know, how a full day, you know, just keep moving, and then you're in camp, and then you have a game to play. And
so let's talk about 2 things as quickly as we can. So Osimhen missed a couple of chances.
Yeah.
He was marked out.
Yes.
So we need to talk about when that happens again, because we needed an individual personal skill from people like Moses to be able to walk around. Because Lukman struggled with it for a bit. Moses came and did the ice breaking and were able to get the goal. So we need to talk about when they put 2 men against our star boy Osimhen, and every hope is there on him. That's on 1. 2. What happened to Nwabali and the early morning bath here?
I think I think if you check, I think Iwobi and Trust Ekong. I don't know if I should put the blame on them because they missed their man, so to speak, and then they had the chance to head that ball in. You know, sometimes a header, it's hard for you to predict where it's going to. But I think he wasn't. I think he wasn't really focused, because Nwabali that we know, he's always alert, 24 hours, But it's as if that's little bit of lack of concentration that he had at that moment, and that's how the ball got, because he was right. It was truly through his angle that the ball gets into the net, and he raised that, but it was just the ball was faster than him, or so to speak. It wasn't alert enough. It happens to the very best of goalkeepers, really. Sometimes, I mean, you are allowed 1 or 2, lapses like that, but hey, I think that shouldn't happen in the year, because you're playing at home, the fans are there. You just want to be alert 24/7. His reflexes.
You didn't talk about Osimhen.
Yeah. Okay.
What do we do with Osimhen?
What do we do with Osimhen? It's just like you ask, what do you do with Messi? Star players, they are usually marked out. We've seen there's some tournaments that Messi had played. Is Messi or some games? You'll be asking, where is he? Is he in this game or in somebody's else's pocket? So we've seen star players like that being marked out. So he's not left on the other player. That's what we had at Ademola Lookman. The intention was you have these 2 guys who are scoring goals as if we're going out of fashion in Europe. They are masked men, proper goal scorers. So when Osimhen is being marked out, Lookman should have be able to do the business. But I think the supplies weren't coming in enough. As you mentioned, when Moses Simon came, we saw those crosses coming in. When you're having someone like Kelechi Iheanacho, for instance, and maybe Alex Iwobi that could have been doing that, they couldn't do much of that. So the pressure now was on Lookman to deliver, who couldn't deliver. And that's why when he also brought in Victor Boniface also, they were still on Osimhen. So I felt the coach's intention is, when you have other scorers, the focus should be the other scorers will be able to, get the ball and get the scoring when your main man has been marked out, which the other players are not doing. Yes, Osimhen has been marked out, but
maybe we'll start using him. If that's the strategy the opponent comes with, we can use him as a decoy.
Not really using him as a decoy. That's why I said that's why the other players need to. He's not the only goal scorer in the team. That's the thing. Moses Simon has scored. I think the Nantes has 14 goals this season. Moses Simon has scored 7 out of that goals that they. So we have players who could score. So if Osimhen is being marked out, what happened to other players on the field of play? That's where they need to come in, really.
Speaking of which, it seems like it's the same commentary of disappointment over Alex Iwobi's style of play. So what do we do with the likes of Alex Iwobi and Kelechi Iheanacho?
I think that's a hard one, because I feel maybe Alex Iwobi, when you watch him at Fulham and I'm watching my Super Eagles, I'll be wondering, is it the same player? And sometimes you hear people say maybe the Alex is in Fulham, the Iwobi is with us, or the Iwobi is in Fulham, the Alex is with us. Some people also talked about Osimhen like that. So I don't know the proper fit. Maybe we can, maybe if he's playing directly behind a striker, maybe that would be a better one for him. But it's really a hard call, really. I think players do have their bad days, so they also have their good days. Alex Iwobi is a fantastic player. Same thing with Kelechi Iheanacho. And the fact that the coach made those changes, bringing some other players, shows that he has seen what they could do and what they couldn't do. And that's why he made those changes, for other players to actually step in and do what they needed to do, and of course to get the desired result. So you can't say you will bench them and not call them to the national team. It's one of those games that you're not just at your best, and then it happened against Benin Republic, and Nigerians are really not happy about that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to say, we still believe in you, Alex. Please bring the Alex and the Iwobi in the match on Monday. So, Cecilia, should we retain this formation for the next match?
I I think yes, because if you check the starting lineup, I was shocked. I'm like, these are the men that are starting the game. Maybe what we can do, instead of starting Kelechi, we could start bringing Moses Simon. You know, since Moses Simon came on and, you know, a lot of changes happened. So I think, but it was Gabriel Osho that was taken out. You know, the guy who made his debut from Auxerre, you know, the Frenchman from Auxerre who made his debut for the Super Eagles. He was the one that was taken out. Moses Simon was brought in. But I do feel that if you can start with Moses Simon, and maybe we can have a player who can supply the balls to those two guys up front there. Yeah, that's what I think. And I also feel maybe give a time again for Victor Boniface to start the game. Maybe you can also bench Osimhen, because if you look at the game we're playing against Rwanda, there's really nothing at stake. So those other players haven't had time to play. Victor Collins, for instance, the home-based player who was brought in, can also, you know, fit in and see what he can deliver. Maybe you can also change the goalkeeper also, and then allow Maduka Okoye to also start. It's been a while. We haven't seen him, you know, for a long time. So it's against Rwanda. We don't really need much. There's nothing in that game. We're just playing for pride and see how we can sign up in style, because already we're topping the group and everything.
But we must
sign up in style. How do you sign up in style? Bring it, because when you bring it, bring it. If you
we have qualified.
The thing is that if you bring in those complacency, yeah, we will. I know obviously know that. But what I'm saying is, if you allow those players that haven't gotten time to actually play and allow them to play games, I think they'll be hungry. Guys, it's just the hunger that we need. Have that hunger and
keep
get
that argument for Monday. Cecilia Morogwe, our sports anchor and correspondent, joining us to break this down. Congratulations to the Super Eagles. We're heading out to that AFCON next year, and let's just go and do Serenity on Monday and see it out. Okay, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you that very first conversation about elections, BVAS, Ondo, and everything in between. Join us again.
Welcome back to the Morning Brief on Channels Television. And as we kick off our first conversation, we're looking at the electoral process. And it is especially important because it's less than 24 hours to the off-cycle Ondo governorship election 2024. And we saw campaigns wrapping up yesterday. As it is now officially, there shouldn't be any campaign in line with electoral guidelines and the electoral law. So what is Ondo State looking like now, 24 hours to the election? Let's get up to speed as our correspondent Dari Dowu brings us updates from Akure, the Ondo State capital. Hello, Dari.
Hello, Bukola. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see you. So tell us exactly where you are and what's happening as far as preparation is concerned for tomorrow's exercise.
Yeah, Bukola, it's a beautiful morning here in Akure, and I'm standing right in front of the INEC office where there's going to be a lot of activities in the next, say, couple of hours. Already, it's a busy atmosphere here. In the background, there's a lot of movement. Electoral officials are moving materials to different local governments. 18 local governments we're looking at in this case. The resident electoral official already mentioned that every local government, even the very difficult terrains, the riverine communities, will get the material, the sensitive materials, because what they do, you and I know the process, is that they move the materials closer to this local government, to the racks, for ease of distribution on election day. And of course, in the background as well, you can see the police on standby, which is usual, which is a usual sight for this election. If you go around town, you can also feel the pulse. It's a very quiet atmosphere generally. If you compare that to the election, one of the off-cycle elections held in Edo State a couple of months ago, you can even see a bit of that similarity. But here in Ondo, a lot seem really calm. The only way you can tell maybe there's going to be an election or something as important as choosing a governor of the state tomorrow is the presence of security officials, because already the military gave that statement, and they're already doing what they said they were going to do to man all the key points, in the state. So the entry and the exit point of the state already manned by the military and its police as well. So in a couple of hours, the police already sent out a message that they will be briefing. So there's been a whole lot of briefing, and there's still going to be a lot more before polls open by 8:30 tomorrow, Bukola.
All right, Dari, I'm not sure what to make of it, whether it's voter apathy or concern. So have you been able to speak to persons there? Because we spoke to Cynthia Mbamalo of Yaga yesterday. She shared this similar sentiment about more like people, the enthusiasm is not there. People are not just, the talk value of the election is very minimal. Is this an Ondo thing, or is this particular election? What exactly is going on from what you've seen and what you're hearing from the people directly? Why is there's no bubble in the air as to the excitement that comes with every election that has to do with choosing a governor?
Yeah, Jeffrey, you're quite right about that. And one of the ways to look at this is, and I don't want to preempt anything, it's pretty much because some may be saying this is a 2-horse race, a 3-horse race, and all of that. You can sense that from the streets. I was talking to a cab driver some hours ago about, are you excited about this election? Are you voting? All you would hear from every one of them is that, see, after this Saturday or Sunday, everyone will go back to their business. I'm not interested. But that opinion doesn't represent the entirety of the state. So let's look at the numbers. In Ondo State, we have more than 2 million registered voters. And out of that number, we only have 1.7 million who collected their PVC. And what that means is that only those people are eligible to vote. You and I know the percentage has always been so low, especially when it comes to turnout. Out of that 1.7, you can be looking at the max you can get is 50% of them coming out to vote. So if it's a good thing, the positive to this is the fact that, of course, you're not seeing that apprehension. So the tension is not in the air. The city, the corners of the states are quite calm. Everyone is going about their business, and that's the positive. I think we can focus on that, Jeffrey.
I like that part. Anyway, we like peace, Nicola.
And we hope that that unusual tranquil that is being talked about will continuously characterize the entire process, such that we can achieve a free, fair, and credible election as agreed to by all the candidates in tomorrow's exercise. We'll have more to touch on, but we'll let you go now, and so that you can keep your eyes on the process ahead of tomorrow's exercise. Our correspondent, Darido, will bring us updates on tomorrow's election in Ondo State. And we're still keeping our eyes on the electoral process, but with specific focus on the bimodal voter accreditation system, that tool deployed for Nigeria's exercise, particularly since the gradual transition to electronic transmission of results and exit from the manual process of results management in our electoral exercise. So joining us today to look at the functionality of the BVAS, what it is able to do, what it was able to do, and you'll understand that in a few moments, what it was able to do in certain elections as against what it is currently doing now. And our guest is going to illustrate that for you. So joining us for this particular segment is Mr. Soala Jumbo, a legal practitioner and former vice chairman, Nigeria Bar Association, Bayelsa chapter. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mr. Jumbo.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. So first things first, for those who are unable who don't know what the functionality of the BVAS is, and for just the benefit of a recap, take us through the three-pronged function of the bimodal voter accreditation system.
All right. So the BVAS has basically three functions, two of which are quite popular and most people know. The first of this function is the ability of the BVAS to be used for accreditation at the polling units on the election day. That is to say, when you go with your voter's card, it's captured or your face is captured, and then if your name is in the register, you are accredited by the BVAS machine. That's the first function. The second function is that at the end of the election, at each polling unit, the BVAS machine is used by the presiding officer to take a photograph, a snapshot of the results sheet from that polling unit, which is then uploaded to the INEC result viewing portal, which is popularly called IREV. That's the second function of the BVAS. Now, those two functions, I think, are known by everybody. Now, but there's a third function that is not so well known, which is the ability of the BVAS machine to also upload to IREV the figure, the accreditation figure from each polling unit on the election day. So that is to say that everybody who was accredited in a polling unit whose card or face was captured, that the total number on that day can be sent to IREV, and it's also visible to the public. So what that does is that the public is able to see the accreditation figure from the polling unit side by side with the result sheet from the polling unit. And therefore, if there is any anomaly, it's immediately visible to the public. Yes, so on the screenshot we are sharing now, you can see how that function works. In those green boxes, you can see a figure. Now, the figure in the green box, which is currently showing on screen, is the accreditation figure from the polling unit. The name of the polling unit is at the top of the green box, and then it's showing you this number of people who are accredited at so time, so it gives in real time at 2 p.m., at 4 p.m., this is the number of people accredited. So at the end of the election, it's uploaded to IREV, and then you can see. Now, beside the green box, you can see a button there saying view results. Now, if you click on that button, on that icon, it will then take you to the actual results sheet where you see the results from that polling unit. You can then immediately tell if there's any foul play, because if, for instance, the green box is saying 45 people were accredited, and then on the results sheet you're seeing votes of 1,000 people, you immediately know that there was something wrong with the results from that polling unit. Now, by the Electoral Act, INEC is supposed to use the BVAS accreditation figure in collation, so that before every polling unit result is collated, you compare it with that figure that is showing in the green box to see if it tallies or if it matches. If it doesn't match, then there's some reconciliation to be done. That result should not be used. It should be stepped down and reconciled. But if it matches, then that result is supposed to be collated. That's the way the system is supposed to work. But what we've seen is that during the Bielsa elections and then after the Bielsa elections, this system of transmitting the BVAS figure directly to the IREV has been discontinued. And we do not know if it's going to be reinstated in the Ondo elections.
All right, Mr. Swala, we can also help the audience contextualize this properly. So what you're saying, which some of us are familiar with, is that rather than just knowing how many people were accredited, exclusively being known to INEC on the BVAS, or what is written on the Form EC8A, which we can all view, usually the way they design the BVAS, electronically it's supposed to publish the number of figures of the accredited voters. So as you open, you can see 210 people were accredited. So when you open when you view it now, you can now check on your EC8A to say, okay, is it 210 people? If it's not, it doesn't match, then there's a problem. But INEC is saying that, because Yaga Africa and the rest of civil society organization, they advocated for this. This engenders, what do you call it now, transparency. Although the law says, I mean, the Supreme Court law judgment says the IREV is just a viewing portal, not a collation center, if you will. But we're discussing this because of transparency and confidence building process. Now, INEC, I just want you to respond to INEC's explanation from what we got, is that if you click on it, you see that they'll write accredited voters, then the number they'll now write, please note that accreditation figures may not be final until synchronization is completed from the devices used in this location. So INEC's argument, without defending INEC's argument was that because of synchronization issue and the trust quotient and all of that, so that it doesn't look like there is somebody playing games around, they disabled it. Did you hear that as well from your research and your findings? And is it tenable by your understanding?
No, very, very clearly, that's not tenable at all. And the reason I say so is this. Now, if you look at some of those clips you were showing, you will see that it not only reports the accreditation figure from the polling unit, it reports the time that figure was transmitted. So if it's saying that, for instance, this figure was transmitted at 5 p.m., what further synchronization do you want to do? It was synchronized at 5 p.m. That's after the election time. Now, let's imagine that it even says 8 p.m., right? Or 11 p.m. We can clearly tell that the election is over by that time. So there's no further synchronization to be done. Now, even for the ones that were synchronized earlier, because you see in some polling units, you don't even have as much as 20 voters, and so they conclude the elections very quickly. And therefore, the presiding officer can upload to IREV and early, even though ordinarily they should wait for the election time to be over. But what we found is that these figures from the BVAS are consistent with what is in the BVAS report, which INEC produced after the elections. So, for instance, those figures you're looking at were from the Bielsa elections. If you take the BVAS report that was produced by INEC after the elections, you will see almost 100% consistency between that BVAS report and these figures. So that note there, which is something like a disclaimer, is just basically, a prudent thing to do. But that doesn't, say that those figures are incorrect. Yes, it is true that synchronization can be done stage by stage, but the presiding officers are trained to only upload those figures after the elections have concluded at the polling units.
So, Mr. Swala, just a follow-up on that. So what do you suspect is going on here?
Well, we can only guess. I think INEC is best placed to throw some light on the reason why they discontinued the process. And we must commend INEC because they also brought about this process. They were not prodded, but the reason why they have discontinued it now is what we need to understand, because it's a very transparent process. It's a very wonderful feature of the BVAS machine, and it brings transparency, just like you said. It adds credibility to the election process, so that even though the IREV is not a collation center, the public can follow what INEC is doing during the elections, and that adds to the credibility of the whole process. So if you have that system, you introduce that feature, which is very good and very commendable, then why do you on your own now disable that feature? That's the question I think only INEC can answer. I cannot speculate. I cannot say it's for any nefarious reason or intention, but I think that INEC is in a better position to answer that question.
Just to prove that, perhaps we can, do a display of the INEC website right now, so that Nigerians can see that indeed that third functionality of the BVAS has been disabled, has been discontinued, using your words. But even in that video that you recorded prior to the disabling of that third functionality of the BVAS, there were some discrepancies to the effect that number of accredited voters as seen in that green box was different from the number of accredited voters as put out in the results sheet uploaded. Now, in that case, where the number of accredited voters does not tally with the same captured on the results sheet, what could have happened, Mr. Jumbo, so that people can understand?
Now, what happened is that some players in the electoral process, I wouldn't want to mention the names of parties or this thing, but some operatives compromised the system. That's clearly what happened. And some of these things are factual because they've been adjudicated. The Bielsa election petition cycle is over. The courts looked into what happened. And it's quite clear, on the records of the court, that the system was compromised. INEC themselves admitted to the fact that the system was compromised, not by themselves, but by third parties, so to say. So that's clearly what happened. You cannot have a situation where the BVAS machine is saying 45 people were accredited, and then you have 1,090-something votes on the results sheet. Clearly, something went wrong. So the process must have begun properly, in which case people were being accredited, and then at some point in the system, some third parties or some political operatives must have taken over the system. Now, there was also the allegation from INEC that, the BVAS machines themselves were compromised in the sense that, a flash drive was introduced into some of the BVAS machines to even change the figures in the BVAS machines. But luckily, as with electronic devices, there was a kind of fail-safe mechanism so that when that happened, it shut down some of those BVAS machines and they were not able to transmit to IREV. So the answer to the question is that a lot of what happened is already in the public space. And if you go and look at, for instance, the Bielsa election petition records, you would see that these things have been adjudicated by the courts, that there was manipulation of results, there was forgery, there was, all kinds of shenanigans, as they say, took place on that day. And what this mechanism, this feature of the BVAS machine does, like I always say, is that it acts like a CCTV camera, which captures the crime. It can't stop the crime, but it captures it in plain sight. And so the human players who man the system should then take the CCTV camera, see what happens, and then make the right decisions based on what they see on that camera, which is the BVAS machine.
All right, Mr. Jumbo, just as we begin to wind down, that feature is quite important, and I think I will be one of those that will be advocating that it should be restored as far as transparency is concerned. As much as it's not a polling unit, but at least it helps us to see and watch what is going on as far as INEC is concerned. But not speaking for INEC, but accepting without conceding, if they give technology, network, and all of this as an excuse, what would you propose?
Sorry? Say again?
I say, if they give examples of technology in terms of network coverage, because of synchronization issues, what would you propose? Because we need that feature back. Some politicians may not want that feature back, so we know. But for every good intended person who wants Nigeria to work and our electoral system to be better, and so that our electoral jurisprudence can be smoother, everybody should advocate for this. So what do we do if coverage of network is a problem?
No, there's no problem with network. There's no problem with technology. It's perfect. The technology is almost perfect, almost perfect. In fact, I say that the system here in Nigeria is even better than what you find in some of the first world countries, even the United States of America. The system, the technology is almost perfect. Now, the BVAS machine doesn't even rely on very serious internet technology. It even uses the normal GSM networks. And then, even if it's not able to transmit at the polling unit, once you leave the area and you get to any area where there is a telecommunications network, it transmits. And so there's no, I don't foresee any serious problem, except, there's some intentionality in making sure that the technology doesn't work. I think that the technology is well placed, to deliver credible elections. So if INEC takes that step to reinstate this feature and this technology, I don't see any thing with synchronization, any issues with that at all. The problem with this is that this system, not using this system, has now allowed, a sort of style, so to say, of rigging elections, where elections in, a huge part of the states go on credibly and transparently, but then in some few parts of the state, the system is then compromised with all these huge figures that then make nonsense of the credible elections in the other parts of the state, because where you're getting 45 votes per polling unit in other parts of the state, you then begin to get 1,000 votes per polling unit in some other parts of the state. And therefore, the will of the voters, is compromised. So I think INEC can reinstate this feature without any issues whatsoever.
All right, there's more to ask about this functionality, but we must end the conversation at this point. And thank you for coming on the show to draw our attention to this. And it is responsible citizen journalism. And of course, we'll continue to ask these questions of the electoral umpire. Mr. Suala Jumbo. Yes, Mr. Suala Jumbo is a legal practitioner and former vice chairman, Nigeria Bar Association, Bayelsa State Chapter. And we'll take a detour from hardcore issues now to look at something that would interest you, and we urge you to stay tuned for this. We'll be right back.
Stop. Yeah. Check that. I'm not changing my mind. Is it charging? Is it charging? Yes. No, I say check the point. Cannot drop the. So I should mix it up too, if possible, right? Okay. Yes, sir. We're going to mess up all the cards. Yes, sir. All right. I think I'm done. All right. So you do remember the number, you remember the one? Yeah. I'm going to try something. You mix up the cards yourself? Yes. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to try this one. Now I'm going to
card you take? Nah. Okay, wait. Watch out. Can you hold on to this part for me? Just hold on to everything. Now I want you to give me the mix. Just give me the mix. Now watch me. Watch me.
Welcome back to the Morning Brief on Channels Television. So right about now, we're delving into the metaphysical, or what you would call illusion. Not necessarily directly, we're going to leave it to the experts. So joining us to talk about this skill, or is it a gift, we have three magicians in the house. So let's start with from my immediate left, we have Oluwawumi Solomon, and Oluwawumi Solomon to my immediate left. And we also have Agbo Austin, popularly known as Mysterio, yes, right here, there in the middle. And we also have Damola Ogunleye, aka Sage the Magician. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm sure you feel very powerful right now. So whatever tricks that you're performing, let it go this way.
No problem. No problem.
So how are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Doing all right.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with you, Solomon.
Yes.
What is magic?
Magic is an art. Magic is an art of bringing your imaginations to reality, right? But specifically to me, magic is a way of telling the story, right? In the most unique form of art, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you today.
Okay, yes. So it's an art.
Yes, it's an art.
Is it a skill that is acquired? Did you go into some form of apprenticeship before you got
Self-taught. Self-taught.
No. Self-taught?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So let's have other reactions to it. What about you, Austin?
Magic is self-taught. Something that you need to put your mind into. You don't just wake up one day and say you want to become a magician. That is why we are very few. Because you need to have passion for it. The passion is what drives you to do more. It's like knowing more than you already know. It's an art. Yes, it can be learned. You can learn it. There's nothing diabolic about magic. It's just pure intelligence. It's like being 5 steps ahead of everybody. Everybody is crawling, and then you are flying already. It makes you more smart. It gives you that room to explore.
So, Damola, I wonder if you have different view, but specifically, are magicians different from the rest of us that are not so gifted?
Well, in a way, well, we're different, but we're also people at the same time. I think one thing about magic is, for me personally, it's more about connections, because I've done a lot of entertainment. I've been in entertainment, dancing, singing and all. But I think one thing that I really loved, what really got me into magic, was the fact that when I'm performing, it's the reaction for people. I can remember the first person that and his mind was, I've danced, I've done so many things, but I've never seen that reaction from him. His mind was scattered. It was all, so I really love that connection. So in a way, we are like everybody else, but we have something more. We know more, so we can do more. So that's like the beautiful thing about magic.
You know, let me start with let me go to Agbo this one. You know, if we're talking in London or in Paris, or we're even talking in New York, it's a safe conversation. But this is Africa, this is Nigeria, where we have jazz, and jazz is real in our context. So that's why she talked about diabolical and all of that. How do you explain yourself out of the fact that when people say, there's more jazz, maybe there's the salt inside is the jazz.
Okay.
How do you explain yourself out of it?
Magic has existed. I can even say maybe before music or something, but music is one of the oldest form of art, like music. And magic is also, magic was in the Bible days. Like in Nigeria, we had people like Professor Pella preaching magic. We had Zakuraja. These are magic people that started way back. And I believe they preached it well, but as time goes on, we had people who maybe thought this was part of the, how would I put, the spiritual realm. There's nothing spiritual about magic. We have maybe herbalists, you know, they perform some kind of...
So you are not African traditional religionists?
No, no, we are not.
You don't worship
we don't, I don't
gods
go to
of our fathers?
I'm a Catholic, I go to church. You understand? I go to church and I performed in the church before. It's a safe space. Like magic, it's just we being very, very ahead of everyone else.
Okay.
So
For me, I want to see the magic. We brought 3 of you here so you can show us action, not just we're going to talk about your journey. I heard you guys are now selling out shows. Is it true?
Yes.
Who comes to the show?
People
like you.
So, oh boy. So you go to the theater. You watch what do you call it now? Performance by the Thespians.
Yeah.
You go to music concert.
Yeah.
You jump to Davido and Wizkid.
Yeah.
So when we come to your show, what are we looking at? Well, so it should be whoa.
Exactly. Reactions like that.
Okay.
I've hosted 2 shows, 1 meet and greet, and then 1 major show, and people came through for me, like friends, families, and fans. Some people that I've never even seen in my life, but they just follow me on social media. They came to experience it because it's a different feel when you see it online and when you're seeing it personally.
You know, the reason I started by asking you why magicians are, or how they're different from the rest of us, is because your explanation is too simplistic for me. I actually watched one of your videos.
No, but I'm suspecting you.
I don't know which one of you it was, but I've seen one of your videos in which you were influencing an experience of people flanked on either side.
Yeah, it was me.
It was you.
Yeah.
And, you know, one person was being touched and the other person didn't have a physical hand on their body, and they were having that same experience.
Exactly.
So how are you able to influence that without having some extra powers?
Now, exactly what I started with was that magic is connection, connecting people. And a lot of times, there are sometimes that things happen in life and you're like, I felt that, I just felt it. So what my job is as a magician is kind of to heighten that feeling. So you are more concentrated, I'm able to pick up on things that people are missing. So things that you might just guess it was a feeling, I would know for surety that this is what happened. So that's the beauty about magic, that you can connect people that don't know each other. I've had so many, I usually like to do with a lady and a guy, they don't know each other, and after we've started talking, we're friends, because of just that connection.
So can you repeat that experience? Maybe you do it on Jeffrey and I.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, let's have that video and then we'll be right back. Okay, it's not ready. We'll take that video, definitely. Let's talk about your other capabilities. What is the
way it's calm, I'm just curious.
What is the biggest thing that you're able to do? I'll start with Solomon.
What is the biggest?
The biggest trick
that you're able
to use a safe word.
The biggest trick I'm able to do is...
Or you've been able to do?
I've been able to do is making people forget that it's magic. It's giving people the chance to perform the magic themselves. That for me is the biggest trick I've been able to do. But then I deal a lot with cards. I deal a lot with storytelling. So it's like a sequential performance, right? So I have how I tell my stories, right? So that way I'm able to, I've had people quite sober, you know, in their feel during my performances. And that's quite different from the rather entertaining feel because of how I tell my stories using magic. Yeah, so that for me is one of my biggest style of performing, right? So basically, most times when I perform, I don't put people in the condition of trying to fool them, but then I put them in a condition of trying to make them understand that, okay, magic is all about bringing your imaginations to reality, and it is just making the impossible become possible through realistic methods, and that for me is my work.
So you say you're able to make people forget that it is magic and help make them perform the process itself.
Yes,
so you can make me perform magic.
I can make you perform magic.
That would be nice.
Okay, so
that would be
I'm
so
looking
nice.
forward to that.
That would be so.
Austin,
for me, it's about
the biggest thing that you've been able to do.
You know what? You know, some people that are watching, just to add to that, are watching with the bias of village people. I needed to look. I would try to contextualize it because we're in Africa and we're in Nigeria, so that when we're having the conversation, we look at all the elements.
I believe. The biggest thing is yet to come for me. There's a lot more to explore. The magic isn't something that is small or you can fit into a box. It is too big. It is one of the most beautiful thing I've seen in my life, because the more you know, the higher your level of intelligence, it increases. So talking about a big thing right now, I can't fit it right now, but then the experience I give people is what makes me happy. I've always wanted to be a superhero, so right now I can do a lot. Like aside doctors, I'm that one person you want to have as a friend. Like
besides doctors?
Yes.
Can you make cancer disappear?
let's not go far. Before NAFDAC call for you. So let's go back to, okay, as soon as any of your visuals are ready, we'll get to let people see, and then we'll come to you performing. So we're going to take in the sequence, see what you do on some of your performances before now, and then we'll see you display in just maybe in about 5 minutes. But I'm curious to know, let me start with you, Damola, how you got to get involved with magic or being a magician. Maybe are you friends? How did you meet? Is there a forum? So just walk us through, how did you get here? And the response or the reaction of your parents when they say, I want to be a magician. Like, how did they look at you?
I think I got into magic about 7 years ago now.
Wow,
and, yeah,
that's a long time.
It's been a while, it's been a while. And before that, as I said, I used to dance, I used to act, and things like that. So it was towards, I'm an avid reader, I love to read. So I kind of memorized like a magic trick when I was like maybe 8, but it was in my mind and I didn't forget about it till like more than 10 years later. So later when I was in school, final year in school thereabouts, that's when I had a friend that was performing some tricks. I know this one, I know that, started sharing ideas and all. So I remember I was going to cut my hair that evening in school and I went out. So because there's a long queue, that's when I started performing. Okay, let's try this. And it was one of the tricks I remembered from like 10 years or 12 years ago. And the reaction was so insane. I really loved the fact that, because I always love entertaining people, get people interested, changing their lives. In minor things, I have people that I've met, they've never met me. But I saw your video 6 years ago. And it's so like, you can remember just a random video you saw. And so it's so many, like some people tell me, oh, this, when I was thinking, I was like, my God, this is, I didn't think this was possible. So that's how I kind of got into magic at the start. And since then, I've been growing and learning. And yes, after a while, I was like, there should be other magicians. Let me try and find out. So on social media, I started searching. I remember I messaged one of my friends, that somebody I met online, oh, let's form a group of magicians and all. Apparently, there was a group of magicians, and called the League of Nigerian Magicians. That was now when I found the group, started connecting. So I think I've known Mysterio for about 3 years or 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. So just like that, Ekato, I met him a while ago too. So that's it. After a while, we just start gravitating to ourselves.
So I'm curious as to your own personal experiences also about how you started your journey. But we'll come to you after this break. That video we talked about is now ready of Damola simulating an experience for 2 people, even though it's only one person that had the physical touch. So let's have that, and then we'll be right back.
This particular put your fingers up. How many times did you feel the touch? Use your hands to touch the place where you felt the touch. I think there's a connection between both of you actually. I think both of you need to
Welcome back. So you saw that, and that was Damola Ogunleye in action. Of course, we'll take some more and have some physical demonstrations right here in the studio.
When are we going to go to that physical? I'm impatient. I'm sorry. They are performers.
Okay,
so people that are watching at home they want to see them perform.
Okay, so let's take a break from the experiences now and have a demonstration. Maybe we'll start with Austin.
All right, good.
So what are you doing for us?
Let's start with an easy tool. Yeah, a card. A deck of card. Firstly, I'd like to shuffle. I would like to make a prediction here too. This is a prediction.
I don't play cards. So
yeah, don't worry. This is a prediction. I'll leave that here so I don't cheat. Give it a little shuffle. Do you have a favorite card?
Kola, do you play these cards? I'm not sure.
Well, maybe when I was younger, not in recent times. Heart?
Yeah, hearts. Which one of the hearts?
Anyone.
Let's see.
Show me anyone.
Let me see. Are you good with the 9?
Okay.
All right, good. So, any name you want to name this card?
King.
You want to name the 9 of hearts? King.
King.
All right, good. Okay, let's say we have king somewhere around the middle. Can you see that? It's in the middle. I'll dribble king down. And then this is called a fan. You can use it to, And then I put it here, and then here. And then I give it a snap, and guess what? Your card will jump to the top of the deck. Do you believe me?
My card will jump where?
To the top of the deck, from the middle. Okay, see, I snap, boom, it jumps. Is this your card? No, this is the 7.
This is a 7.
But if I rub the 7 on my clothes, it changes into.
Okay.
All right, good. We'll have one more. Okay. I said I made a prediction there, so we're going to be doing a little shuffling.
How did you do that?
It's just part of making people feel something they've not felt before.
Okay.
So I want you to say stop anyway your mind tells you to. I'm just going to riffle down just like this.
Stop.
Do you want to change your mind?
No.
You are advised to change your mind.
No.
You should change your mind.
No.
Yeah, okay. Okay, good. I want you to look at it. I don't want to see. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
The color, the alphabet, the number?
Yeah.
Good. I'll place it back here. I said I made a prediction, right? This is the card. This is a random card. Definitely not yours. I made a prediction before I riffled down. And good. Let's have it. This is your card.
No.
4 of diamonds.
No.
You're sure it's not your card?
It's not my card.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, let's try something else. Watch slowly.
Oh my God.
6 of diamonds.
All right. Impressive.
I would like you to write. Can you just like...
Jeremy, you're trying to retain composure, Abby.
These are blank cards. As you can see, they're all blanks. Like, can you see that?
Yeah.
Blank cards. So maybe you have a word, the name of a place, a planet, a car.
Do you have red in your inside of your skin?
No, it's blood. It's just blood, I want you to write.
No, because I'm thinking about village people.
Random word.
I'm used to village people.
A random word, just a word boldly. I don't want to say it.
I should write a word, Abby.
Yeah, maybe it's food.
Is there any suggestion, like, is it food or I can write
anything?
I should write any word.
Yes. That comes to your mind.
Let me hide my hand.
Please hide it very, very well.
I'm hiding my hand.
I'm still dazed.
I've written my word.
Do you want to change it?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Nope.
Can I have it back?
I should. You want to have it back? Yeah. But you'll see what I wrote.
No, I won't say it. Just give it back. Face down. Don't worry. All right, good. Don't worry. I got you. Okay, so can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
I'll close it. I'll place it somewhere around the middle. Is there any particular reason why you picked this one?
Just what came to my mind, ASAP.
Okay, good. So, you know how a projector works here? You point out something to a blank stuff and then you project it there. So I want you to think about that word, okay? So I just want you to look at it and think about it just like that. Are you there? I want you, did you project it here?
Did I what?
Like project it on the blank paper.
I wrote it now.
Yeah, but you did also here, right?
Okay, so I should project it.
Yeah.
Okay, I projected it.
I just want you to, yeah, it's blank, don't worry. It's blank. This is the blank one. So I want you to think about it. Like, signal it to me. Channels.
Wow.
You wrote channels on the piece of paper.
Yeah, I did.
Was it channels?
Yes, it was.
Let me have a look.
I should have used my pen, man. Now I'm suspecting this pen. I actually wrote channels.
Channels?
You did?
Yes, channels I wrote.
Let me look for it.
I wrote channels now. But I'm not suspecting this pen. I wrote channels actually.
Yeah. For real. I can't even find it. But yeah, I think channels.
No, I wrote channels for real.
It's here. It's going to be here. Let me just go through it.
Check. No, but I know I wrote channels. That's what I wrote actually.
Channels, yeah. This is it. Channels.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, Solomon, your turn.
The next one, I'm going to use my personal pen. Personal pen. All right, Solomon.
So I'm going to try a very short storytelling.
Okay, you're the storyteller.
Yes.
I need to go and learn these cards because you guys use these cards a lot. I'm not so, I didn't play these cards so much. I played what we call what.
Yeah, use what to.
Okay. So, is there a way you can confirm that this is empty?
Let me have that.
Thank you. Just need to confirm that it is empty.
Okay, so it's empty.
Well, I look inside.
It's empty. Empty. I can see it's empty.
It's empty.
Okay.
Great.
Shall I hand it back to you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you. Now, I tell story with cards because I tend to relate cards with people, right? And I'm going to show you what I mean. Right here is the 7 of clubs. Okay? Now, the 7 of clubs stands for something quite sad. It's actually an introduction to, let's call it pain for now. Do you understand? And you see, what comes next is usually quite different. That's actually love. Love comes next. Yes, the 7 of hearts. Now, the 7 represents perfection. So this is where we see the love around us and the life around us. But you see, sometimes it just seems so far away, right? And then what comes next is, if I could get this right, it should be the 7 of diamonds. You know why? Because the 7 of diamonds right here represents a life of potential, a life of purpose. And let's still drop the 7 right here, right? And finally, this actually comes the danger that most of us get to face. And that is the 7 of spades. Now, the 7 of spades right here represents solitude. It represents that feeling that you can't tell anyone. And this is the exact feeling that puts us inside the box. This box right here. Now, I'm going to give you this box. I want you to hold on to this box for me, please. Yes. Okay. Yes, thank you.
So now, you have 3 cards here.
4 cards.
4 cards.
Yes. So while you're holding up to that box, sir, could you do something for me? All right? Just go ahead and tell me the word stop whenever you're ready. Stop. Right there. Do you want to change your mind?
No, I don't change my mind.
Can you see that card there? Do not say a word. Can you see the card there?
Yeah, I can.
You both can see the card. Perfect. We're going to get back there. Now, you're holding a box, right? A box that once represented pain, love. What else?
Diamonds.
And
danger, spades.
Spades, danger, solitude. But you see, you're outside the box, so you get to see the life outside the box. But you see, those cards inside the box cannot get to see the light unless you help them. So if I may ask you, the cards are the 7s, right? The 7 family. Could you make those cards a king? Is it possible you can make those cards a king? I told you I was going to make you do magic. Could you make those cards kings?
Well, it's possible I can speak life into them.
Yes, you can speak life into them. So when you think it, that right there is your imagination to reality. Check it.
All of them, right?
Yes, all of them. Open it.
Bring out the cards and check. So what they are?
Yes, show everyone.
Uh-oh, I can see. Bring it out, so now we're gonna...
Show everyone.
We're gonna show... Where's your camera?
The next one, and the next one.
Bukola is it? Oh.
Oh my.
And finally, the last one.
So she imagined it and it came to life. That's the idea.
Yes, that's the idea behind magic. So you saw a card, and there's no way I have an idea of what you saw. True or false? True. And this has been staying here this entire time. There's no way I could get to this card right here. This right. I'm going to show you something interesting. I want you to imagine your card folded up. Right there. You have it? Great. Now I want you to make it like you're passing it mentally to me. Do not say a word.
That she folds the card?
Yes, and just fold it up into... Okay. If I get this right, I could try something special. Okay. So apparently, it's not a card. It's a sweet. But you see, magic is much more deeper than the surface. Because at the end of the day, It's just our imagination to reality. So if I get this right, this looks like your card.
Oh. Oh.
How are we supposed to believe that? How are we supposed to believe that you didn't package that before coming here?
Very, very important question. So we're going to try something. I'll just hold on to. Could you hold on to this?
Yes, I can.
Yes, please. Perfect.
Okay, this is getting interesting.
Okay.
Do you guys do like this with music or just with the quietness? Because everybody's suddenly quiet. My director and the people in the back room, nobody's talking.
Okay, so I have a couple of cards here, okay? So this is the 5 of diamonds, the 9 of clubs, right? The 8 of diamonds, the 6 of spades, the 2 of diamonds, the jack of clubs, the queen. Just in case, my pocket's still empty. Now I'm trying to show you this to make you understand that they were not all 10 of clubs. Does that seem clear? Yeah, so that is my piece.
Brilliant. So, okay, let's absorb that.
So we're waiting to see
Damola,
your
right?
tricks, Damola.
Damola, like you came with crude oil or something.
But before Damola, let's hear their own journey as well, Austin and
okay, as quickly as possible.
Solomon, yeah.
Okay, I don't like to talk about mine, but I hope she's watching. Okay, so a girl actually made me start magic. You know, she said if I could pull up a nice trick, she's going to give me a gift. So we all know that gifts from girls are, you know. So I think I did one, and then it was nice. Yeah, I got the gift. Don't ask me what it was. So, my friends were like, you know, this is really cool, and you can actually, you know, I showed it to my friends, and I showed it to my friends at school, and from my friends at school, a larger audience, and I was invited to perform at my school. Then the name started ringing around school, and the rest is history. And then, my magic in my house, my family, I come from a large family. We're 13, one mother, one father, 3 boys, 10 girls. So I grew up with girls. So they loved it. They loved it at first. They supported me, my career, my sisters. They helped me. Sometimes they fund some of my magic while you support. They show me love. My friends have been supported. They've been the best fans I've ever had. Some of them, they claim to be the #1 fan of Mysterio. And trust me, I have so many #1s, I can't count. And it's been beautiful, trust me. It's been a lovely experience for me, and I believe as time goes on.
Okay.
Interesting.
So we can't wait. We're supposed to come to you, but we can't wait to see Damola in action. So Damola, you have the floor.
All right, awesome. This is a new station, this channel TV.
It's not new, well.
I didn't say new, news.
Okay, news.
Yeah. Okay. So I brought this because obviously you use your words a lot, we talk. Yeah. And truly what you do is really important work because every day you're reporting on different things, sometimes positive, sometimes negative and all of that. But you have to come in fresh each new day. And that's how it is in life. You went yesterday, they shouted at you had a minor accident, you get up next morning, I know. So that's like the idea that I brought. So this is like a newspaper, this is like a physical manifestation of how a lot of people live. So what I have here is just a bottle of soda, and I'll open it up. Now, the reason why is, while so many things in life happen, we have to be careful that we don't allow things happen to us. So bad things happen to you, there needs a justification to be a bad person and things like that. So we have this newspaper. I'd just like to show you through, just to scan through, basically. Just a regular newspaper. Now, I'm going to do something. Just in the way we have life, so many things happen. I'm going to have this. And just like bad things happen to everyone, we're going to see whether we can stain this. And we'll put it in. Hope we can also do that. Now, by now, this should be wet.
I'm waiting for it to be wet.
Open it. Let's see. Open.
Then,
open.
As I said,
I can see some patches of wetness.
Yeah, you know, it's splashed around. All scattered. So you can see there's no way anything could hide because paper is all scattered up and down. Have a copy.
It was just patches of wetness I saw just now. Okay, something is going on here.
So,
did you see that?
Just like that. So that's life. Bad things happen, but you let bad things go through while you're still wet. And you still...
How did you retain the water?
That's it. So many things happen. Somebody shouted at me yesterday and all, and I'm still here, I'm still fine. So we even splashed a bit here just to show that this is not any film trick. So for this, I have this for you. Please, could you hold on to that?
Okay.
Hold on to that.
What is inside? Should I open it?
No, just hold on to it. Now, we have a book, one of my favorite books, just a basic, so I'm going to go to flip through it. Well, then I'm a magician, maybe I have fast hands and all. So I'm going to use this to kind of demarcate. So what I'm going to do is anywhere you say stop as I flip through.
Stop.
There. And I'm going to stick it inside. Now, please, can you come closer? And I just want you to come and take a look at, just look at the first two words. The first two words.
That on the page that we're looking at.
On the page yes. We're looking at. I've seen it.
The chapter number at the top. Can you see that as well?
I can't see that.
You can see.
Can't see from here.
Okay.
Bukola will help me, but I can't.
I can see the number of the page and the first two words.
Okay. I don't know if the camera can pick that up. So we have that there. I'll hold on to this. So basically, we have this now. What I want you to do is, I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. Now, last time you made you perform the magic. The same way too, you can pull things with your mind. Like I said, there's a connection. But now it's easy to do connection, like the video I showed, that I showed connection between people. But what is harder is connection between a human being and an inanimate object. But books, in a way, they are kind of like an extension of human beings. They are life, people, effort. This is the minds of people. So I want you to do something. That word and that number you saw, just be calling it in your mind. Now, when I say 3, 2, 1, when I snap, shout it in your mind. Don't say it out. So 1, 2, 3, snap. You shouted it in your mind, right? Good. Now we have this book. Hold on to it.
Can we still remember? You can remember the chapter, right?
The chapter
and the number.
The page and the words. Yes. I can remember.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, now just flip through to see if you can flip through it. See it?
So you can sit down, Bukola.
Okay.
Just flip through it and go towards that number, the chapter number.
Say what?
Please, can you show everyone what you see there?
It's torn up?
It's torn.
It's torn. There's a missing page there.
Yes.
What I say is that you pull it, imagine it, call it out. What you did was, because you called it forcefully, you tore it out of that book, just with your mind.
Okay.
And do you know what, when I started with connections. Now, it's torn, it's gone, but it's a physical thing. That means it must be somewhere, right? It must be somewhere. But you've been working together for a while, right, both of you? You've held on to that envelope from the start, before we even started anything at all. Please, can you open up that envelope?
Inside?
Yeah.
I should check inside?
Yeah, put your hand in. And check, verify if that. What was the name of what you saw before?
The governor.
The governor.
18.
Check, look at it. What is there?
Yes.
The governor 18.
It's back.
Now, can I come closer to you?
Yeah,
yes,
you can.
Now, just to show.
Whoa.
Just to show, we have this. So that it's not, maybe it's random. Let's see whether it fits. And what we do is see this. Yeah. And you can see it's a perfect fit. Just with your mind, you're able to pull it out. So
Produce you what's of mine. I hope I've been able to confuse.
I'm not convinced you.
Thank you very much.
You deserve a round of applause, man.
Thank you.
So we just have like 5 minutes. So we didn't hear your own story. Was it him?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, we didn't hear your story.
Yeah. I've been doing magic now for like 5 years. Yeah, I've been performing. But it started as what I thought was a discovery, right? So I love playing board games a lot, like indoor games, you know, chess, Monopoly, Scrabble, card games, and poker, all this kind of thing. So I play, you know, I play with my friends and stuff like that. It goes on and on and on. I just figured out a way to, you know, do one or two things with the cards. So I pull it off when I play. And I just told someone that it's like there's something here, there's something I feel like I've figured out, and there's that attention you pay to something you're newly seeing, then you get to see it around. So that was how I just figured out how that this was called magic. That thing was called magic, and I was able to watch magicians real time and see how they pull off whatever they did and make my own style from it. So I pushed on to doing that, pushed on to school, performed in school, did the competition. Then I pushed on outside. I've been around the restaurants magic for a while now. Yeah, so I think 2022 I was having I used to have a gig at Keys Lagos. That was the after night with Yemoli. Then from there I had a residency with Koinor. Then had different restaurants I was working through.
All right, fabulous. So,
magic. So.
2 more questions and then we'll wrap this up. Let me start with you. Let's start with you. Your parents' reaction to this line of work. What was it? Supportive? What are you doing? I don't understand. What was it?
It was. You see that first the trick that one.
Give them their book.
The one.
Here you go, Damola and Solomon.
Yes, thank you.
This too, I believe. Yeah.
I had to do this piece again because I was hoping my dad would like get to see the piece. Because when my dad found out I was doing magic, he was like, "What are you doing?" Like he said, "Like, are you joking? Like, what's going on?" And he asked me, "Okay, if you say you are truly a magician, perform something." And for the first time, I flopped. I flopped this piece up. I don't know what happened that day. I just flopped. So it was really hard for me to kind of like redeem myself that moment. But after a while, they got to see like more of me. So it just became interesting.
Agbo.
Mine was beautiful. Full support. But at first, mommy was skeptical about it. Skeptical. She was like, there was a time my sister had to call me on phone because she saw one of my stuff online. And she was like, "Austin, you sure say no be juju, you don't understand?" So, stuff like that. The core is because as time goes on, the craft begins to expand and unimaginable and unexplainable things begin to happen. So the reactions are both from my friends and family, but at this point, they see me going to different places, different shows, sleepless nights. And
we're going to talk about those different places.
What's the gift that girl gave you, by the way?
We are coming to that.
Your parents' reaction. We just want to get a feel of what it is, because these African parents are not. They don't play. They don't play like that.
Maybe I'm just lucky I have a cool mom, cool parents. My mom was open to it. She's someone that always encourages us to do different things and all. But when I started, she was all right with it, nice. After a while, there was a question of like, what are you guys really, are you sure? And no, a bit of question. But after a while, she has a school in Badon, Chobezas Montessori Academy in Badon. And after a while, she even invited me for her children's, I think one of the videos, I didn't send it to them, but one of the videos, see the children's, because she started encouraging me on it and all. So all my friends, all my families, I've never really had any major. You can just question, Damola, I know you. I know you're not a bad boy. I know you're not doing juju. So tell me, is it? And I'll give you. No, everything is calm and.
So shout out to Daddy Solomon, Daddy Agbo, and Daddy Oguleye. Yeah. All right, so we'll take a break now.
We're totally out of time. Maybe we'll just, because they're telling us our time is up. So,
okay.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Let me remember all the names in the sequence they came.
Yeah.
Allow me, Solomon, Austin Agbo, Damola Oguleye. Thank you so much and keep the good work. I didn't ask how much money you make, how much you charge your ticket. Maybe when your manager, when we interview your manager, the guy in charge of this industry.
You can catch us live at the Magic Campus.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to come and see.
Trust me.
Do you guys also make dollars? Because Nigeria needs it. No, that's illegal. That's illegal. That's illegal. Thank you guys for coming on the program. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And that's it on the program. We apologize. Brother Shaggy couldn't make it to the program. We're supposed to have him to have the conversation, but eventuality happened, so he couldn't make it to the program. We will catch up with him some other time on the program. But we must thank you. The weekend edition of the program. Remember, Sunrise Daily is up at the top of the hour. Stay with Channels Television. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Bye-bye, and have a great weekend.
And we're wrapping up the week with wonders, so have yourself a wonderful weekend. I am Bukola Kuka. Bye for now.